Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise on complex topics to give you the essential takeaways. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating new piece of research, a really comprehensive review of artificial intelligence in economics. It covers over 2,200 articles, believe it or not, from the last 34 years.
That's right. And this isn't just about, what AI might do someday. It's about what it's actually done already and where it seems to be genuinely heading in the world of economics. Our mission today really is to give you a bit of a shortcut to understanding this whole landscape. It's evolving so fast, from the core definitions right through to its impact on, well, everything from global growth down to maybe your local housing market.
Okay, let's unpack this then. When we talk about AI in economics, what exactly are we referring to? Because it can seem like a broad term. This review gives a pretty helpful definition, I thought.
It does, yeah. What's really insightful is how it breaks AI down into three sort of forms or maybe categories. First, based on its methods like algorithmic trading, managing these huge data sets, big data, or, natural language processing. Second, you've got its application in specific industries. Think Internet of Things, Industry 5.0, which is that next level of human-machine collaboration or advanced robotics. And then third, there are the AI advances that really try to simulate human intelligence. Things like the models from OpenAI, cloud computing, geotagging, that kind of thing. Seeing it laid out like that really helps you grasp how widespread it's become.
Yeah, it's not just one thing. And this spread, this integration, it hasn't exactly been a slow creep, has it? The review points to some pretty distinct phases in its development within economics.
Oh, definitely not slow. You see three clear phases. Phase one, that's 1990 to 1999. That was really the start. Just 38 articles, about 4,500 citations, just dipping a toe in, really. Then phase two, 2000 to 2010, showed what they call emerging use. It jumped up to 172 articles. Citations were around 4,300. So similar interest per article, maybe. But here's where it gets really interesting. Phase three, from 2011 basically up to now, this is the current trend, the real integration phase. It just exploded, nearly 1,900 articles and over 20,000 citations.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not just the numbers, right? It shows AI moving from like a fringe idea to a core tool, probably driven by better computing, more data. It just became feasible.
That's a huge leap.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've defined it. We've seen this massive acceleration. Where is AI actually making the biggest impact? This deep dive identified 5 major research streams where AI is, really making waves. Let's let me walk through some of the key ones.
Absolutely. So the first big one is AI and economic modeling. Before AI, economists were, well, largely using traditional econometric models, and these models often struggled with the sheer volume and messiness of modern data, unstructured data especially.
Like trying to analyze Twitter feeds with old statistical methods or something.
Exactly. It was like trying to build a skyscraper with, I don't know, basic hand tools. Now, AI offers dynamic simulations, much better ways to handle that complex big data, and crucially, vastly improved prediction. AI models can even analyze things like social media sentiment for behavioral insights, and for policymakers, it gives them options to simulate policy impacts before rolling them out.
That sounds incredibly powerful, like trading those hand tools for a full digital construction crew.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's modeling. What about the broader economy, the macro level?
Yep. That brings us right to the second stream, AI and macroeconomics. AI is seen as this fast engine for productivity and growth. There are projections suggesting global GDP could rise by something like 14% by 2035 just because of AI.
14%, that's massive.
It is. And within macro, the review looks at 8 substreams, but a few really jump out. One huge area is AI and the labor market and unemployment. This is the one everyone talks about. AI automates tasks, especially repetitive ones. That can cause some temporary job losses, sure, in the short run. But the prediction is generally positive. Long-term new jobs get created. Overall productivity goes up. But, and it's a big but, it does seem to worsen income inequality, between lower skilled workers whose jobs might be automated and higher skilled workers who can leverage AI.
That makes sense. Is there data on that automation impact?
Yeah, there's a pretty striking statistic from McKinsey. They estimated that about a third of the activities and 60% of occupations could be automated by 2030.
Wow, a third of activities and 60% of jobs. That really changes the nature of work itself.
It really does. It points towards needing skills like creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, things machines aren't good at yet. And obviously, people who can build and manage the AI.
Okay, so labor market is a big one. What else in macro?
Another really interesting one is AI and health economics. AI is already helping here. Advanced analysis, better forecasting. It leads to lower costs and fewer errors. Think about AI-powered telemedicine.
Mhm.
Reaching remote areas, it breaks down geographical barriers. For you listening, this could mean more cost-effective treatments, maybe better diagnostics, smarter healthcare budgeting overall. They estimate AI could save maybe 5 to 10% in U.S. healthcare costs each year.
That's significant savings.
Definitely. And then, of course, there's AI and financial economics. AI algorithms are just transforming finance for individuals and big institutions. We're talking better risk management, spotting fraud faster, handling compliance, much more sophisticated investment strategies, even customer service chatbots. Algorithmic trading is huge now.
Right. So moving beyond these really broad economic shifts, does it get more specific? Like how is AI changing predictions for, say, a single company or even fostering innovation?
Yeah, absolutely. That leads us neatly into the fourth stream, AI and prediction and forecasting modeling. AI has just dramatically improved how accurately and quickly we can predict things across loads of areas. Take, for example, predicting firm bankruptcy. AI models can act like these super early warning systems.
Spotting trouble before it's obvious.
Exactly. They analyze mountains of data, financial reports, market trends, maybe even news sentiment, things a human analyst might miss or take way longer to process. Real-time monitoring becomes possible. They use machine learning on historical data to see patterns that predict failure. And similarly, for forecasting economic recessions, AI can analyze incredibly complex data sets, run different what-if scenarios, and provide earlier warnings to governments and central banks, helps manage crises better.
So it's like having a much clearer crystal ball in a way.
A much more data-driven one, yeah. And then the final stream they highlight is AI and the economics of innovation. AI isn't just being innovated, it's changing how innovation happens and lowering the cost. Think about generative AI platforms. They can help connect innovators, brainstorm solutions, even draft initial designs or code, making it cheaper and faster to develop new ideas. Supports open innovation. AI models are also simplifying things like searching for existing patents or even helping with the filing process. It greases the wheels of innovation.
You know, reading through this, one of the most striking things wasn't just the list of applications, but how the review framed it as this complete paradigm shift, like a before AI and after AI for economics itself. It really feels like that. Let's look at a few key areas to see that contrast. Okay, economic modeling. Before AI, you had those traditional econometric models. They had their place, but struggled with big, messy data. And sometimes the accuracy was, well, debatable. After AI, modeling becomes faster, potentially much more accurate, and way more efficient. You're using machine learning, NLP, predictive analytics. It's a different game for decision making.
A completely different toolkit.
Exactly. Or think about industry and manufacturing. The old way was manual labor, mass production lines, the classic factory system, post-AI. It's all about smart manufacturing, automation, robots working alongside people, incredible quality control using sensors and AI analysis, supply chains that optimize themselves, even predicting when machines need maintenance before they break.
Total overhaul. Complete overhaul. Another great one is financial economics. Before, you had theories like the efficient market hypothesis, standard statistical analysis. Now, it's vast data analysis, high-frequency algorithmic trading, incredibly sophisticated risk management and fraud detection systems, complex ways to value assets and manage portfolios. AI is just embedded in modern finance.
Need even something like real estate.
Even real estate economics, yeah. Used to be focused on, traditional property management, looking at regional trends. Now, AI brings in automated property valuations. Think Zillow's Zestimate, but more sophisticated, optimizing how smart buildings run, predicting price movements with much more data, managing risks using big data analysis. For anyone involved in real estate, buying, selling, investing, it means a potentially much more precise and efficient market.
It's really incredible how deep the changes go. It makes you wonder about the actual the nuts and bolts. What are these specific AI tools or methods economists are actually using now?
That's a great question. The review highlights 6 key techniques that are becoming central. The first, and probably the biggest one, is machine learning, ML. Basically, ML is about creating algorithms that learn patterns from data and then make predictions or decisions based on those patterns without being explicitly programmed for every single scenario. Super useful for economists drowning in data.
Okay, so learning from data. Are there different types of ML?
Yep. Within ML, a major one is supervised learning. That's where you train the model using data that's already labeled with the correct answer. Like, here's historical data on inflation and its drivers. Learn the pattern so you can predict future inflation. It's like teaching with flashcards.
Got it.
Then you have deep learning. This is sort of a more advanced, more complex type of ML. It uses these things called neural networks with many layers kind of inspired by the human brain to find really intricate patterns in massive data sets. Great for complex forecasting like stock prices or GDP growth, potentially with higher accuracy.
More brain-like. Okay.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, related but distinct is causal inference. This is super important for economists. It's about figuring out if X actually caused Y, not just if they happened around the same time.
Cause and effect, not just correlation.
Exactly. They often use methods that try to mimic experiments, like randomized controlled trials, RCTs, where feasible. It's like A/B testing for economic policies to see what really works.
Right.
Another really powerful method is natural language processing, NLP. This is teaching computers to understand human language. Economists use NLP for all sorts of things now, analyzing the sentiment in financial news or social media, deciphering the language used in central bank statements to predict market reactions, even automatically summarizing research papers.
So reading and understanding text.
Pretty much. And finally, maybe seems obvious, but it's critical, is data visualization. It's all about creating clear charts, graphs, interactive dashboards, ways to actually see the patterns and trends in the complex data. It makes all those powerful insights from AI analysis understandable and usable for economists, policymakers, businesses, everyone, really.
So putting it all together then, what we've really learned today is that AI in economics isn't just some fancy new tool. It feels more like a fundamental shift, right? It's changing how economies are modeled, analyzed, predicted across pretty much every sector we've looked at.
Indeed. I think this deep dive makes that crystal clear. You see AI's huge role everywhere, from automation and handling massive data to brand new ways of modeling economies and understanding markets. But it's not all frictionless, right? The review also brings up the significant costs of actually implementing AI for people, for companies, for governments. And it really underscores the need for, well, a strategic approach to adopting it.
Absolutely. And that brings us to a final thought, something for you, our listeners, to maybe consider. As AI continues to weave itself deeper and deeper into the fabric of our economy, how do we make sure its incredible power is used wisely? Not just for efficiency or for profit, but used strategically to tackle the big global challenges. Think climate change, inequality, health crises, and to genuinely improve well-being for everyone. All while, carefully navigating those costs and the ethical questions that inevitably come with such powerful technology. Something to think about.